Señor Fancypants.
From an underground laboratory in Pennsylvania comes the Señor Fancypants Show, a family-friendly podcast that contains no high fructose corn syrup. Please give it up for your host, Señor Brian Fancypants.
All right. Go ahead, have a seat, Thank you so much, fake audience. Okay, welcome to episode 12 of the Señor Fancypants Show. Thank you so much for coming back. You are all awesome. This podcast has now been heard in 42 states in the U.S. Now, I'm not going to call out all of the 8 states where we have no downloads, but if you happen to know anyone in Wyoming, Alaska, Montana, New Mexico, Kentucky, Indiana, or Louisiana, let them know about our show. Thank you. Now, we also have listeners in several other countries, including Ireland, England, Australia, Uganda, Canada, Mozambique, I guess, and Spain. Now, thanks to all of you for joining us as well. We really appreciate you listening. Now, we mentioned on our last episode that Lincoln was about to have his 9th birthday. Well, the day has come and gone, and my amazing co-host is now 9 years old. He is officially halfway to adulthood. How do you feel, Lincoln? Any different now that you're 9?
No.
Not at all? No?
No.
And you look the same, too. Imagine that. All right, so like I said, Lincoln had his birthday. Lincoln's grandparents actually made a surprise visit a couple days before his birthday, and they brought a really cool cake that was made by Lincoln's great-grandmother. What kind of cake was it, you ask?
It was a cake that looked like a TARDIS.
Now, for those of you who don't remember, the TARDIS is a giant blue time-traveling police box spacecraft from the show Doctor Who, which is one of Lincoln's favorite TV shows. And the cake was delicious, and it also the frosting turned our mouths blue.
Bonus.
Indeed. Lincoln, what do you think of the presents that you got for your birthday?
They were awesome.
You got some good ones. I know you got some Legos, some Minecraft Lego sets.
Yeah.
But also, more importantly, you got 3 brand new Nintendo Switch games.
Yeah.
Now, which 3 games did you get?
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild,
Awesome.
Smash Bros, and Super Mario Odyssey.
Now, those 3 games just happened to be your top 3, didn't they? The ones that you wanted.
Yep.
Now, which one of those 3 games do you think you've spent the most time playing so far?
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you've been playing Zelda a lot, I've noticed. What do you think of the game? Is it good?
It's awesome.
Yeah? Have you beat it yet?
No.
No, of course not, because it's actually a massive world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I started playing a little bit, but I haven't had a chance to really spend a lot of time with it. I will say that the graphics in the new Zelda game are unbelievable. And I grew up playing the very first Zelda game for the original Nintendo system, and I'm just glad to see that Zelda games are alive and well, and they just keep getting better and better. Now, Lincoln, you did already beat one of your games, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey. Do you recommend that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, for all ages, would you say?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I actually had a chance to play the Mario Odyssey game myself, and it is really awesome, and I recommend it as well. So if you don't have it, maybe check it out. So far, we've been very happy having the Nintendo Switch, haven't we, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many great family-friendly games that you can get for it. So if you don't have one, maybe you might want to look into it, and if you do have one, maybe you could send us a message and recommend some other cool games to us. Now, some of our loyal listeners may have noticed that we are releasing this episode a week later than we were supposed to. See, here at the Señor Fancypants headquarters, we have been fighting some annoying germs, and there have been some days where we lost that battle, so we've had to take some sick days, and that made it a little harder to get this episode finished on time. So, we apologize. Now, I wanted to get this episode out before Valentine's Day because I actually wrote a song specifically for Valentine's Day. I don't want to waste a song, though, so we're going to just go ahead and play it anyway. And I'll probably release a longer version of this song around Valentine's Day of 2020, but for now, here is my short song about making homemade Valentine's cards. Enjoy!
I've got a pile of construction paper and a bucket full of magic markers. I've got scissors and a whole bunch of glue. I'm gonna make you something extra special. I'm drawing pictures that'll make you smile. I stayed up all night and wrote a poem for you. It's February and love is in the air. I'll be yours. Will you be mine? Please say you'll be my Valentine. I'll be yours. Will you be mine? Please say you'll be my Valentine.
That song was brought to you by bicycles.
If you're looking for a vehicle composed of two wheels held in a frame one behind the other, propelled by pedals, and steered with handlebars attached to the front wheel, you should try a bicycle.
Now it's time for Keith Brockway's question of the day.
Keith Brockway's question of the day.
The question we asked for this episode was, if you could only pick 3 Disney movies to watch for the rest of your life, which ones would you choose? This is a very tough question because Disney has put out so many amazing films. We got more responses to this question than we ever have before for this segment. Now, we're not going to read everyone's answers because there were so many, but I will read Keith Brockway's answer because this segment's named after him. Keith said, Aladdin, Emperor's New Groove, and Treasure Planet. But there are a lot of honorable mentions like Wreck-It Ralph, The Incredibles, Big Hero 6, and Oliver and Company. All right, interesting answer. Some of those are maybe not as popular. I know I haven't seen Oliver and Company since I was a kid, but we just borrowed that one from the library, didn't we, Lincoln?
Yeah.
So we're going to check that out soon. Anyway, I counted up all of the votes, and here are the top 3 Disney films according to all of your responses. Number 1.
The Lion King,
All right. Number 2.
Beauty and the Beast,
And number 3.
Aladdin.
All right, so maybe you want to send us a message and tell us if you agree with those top 3 or if you think they're terrible. Now, some of the other films got a pretty good amount of votes too. Like, let's see, The Little Mermaid got 8 votes. That's a good one. Mary Poppins got 9 votes. Let's see, Toy Story got a good number of votes. That's actually, I think Toy Story is probably in my top 3. What about you, Lincoln?
Yeah, mine too.
Okay. Robin Hood actually got a good number of votes, and Moana. Let's see which ones didn't get a lot of votes. Let me find some that only got like 1 vote. Let's see here. We got Bambi. Bambi only got 1 vote. That's weird. Have you seen Bambi, Lincoln?
No.
We're going to have to check that out. It's got an interesting beginning, but the rest of it's kind of good. Fantasia only got 1 vote. I'm not surprised by that. Rescuers Down Under, 1 vote. Newsies, 1 vote. Dumbo, come on. Dumbo only got 1 vote. I love Dumbo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because it's awesome. All right, so those were the results of the Disney question, the Disney Films question. If you disagree with the results, go ahead and send us a strongly worded message. We don't really care. All right, so there are some big Disney releases coming out this year that we're very excited about. There's new versions of Dumbo, Aladdin, and The Lion King coming out this year. And then, of course, there's the film I'm most excited about for this year, Toy Story 4. Am I right, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go see that. I think it comes out in the summer sometime. I'm a huge fan of all the Toy Story films. Anyway, thank you, Disney, for putting out great movies. And thank you to our listeners for sending us messages and answering this question. It seems like a lot of you have very strong opinions about Disney films. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to play a song written by a talented songwriting pirate from New Zealand called Captain Festus McBoyle. Here is his song called Wally the Whale.
Have I told you of the tale about the 30-meter whale who decided he would dine upon me boat? He said that on the count of 4 he would be coming through me door, and he was sorry if the blister didn't float. He said it's lonely out at sea, 'cause everybody's scared of me, and no one ever stops to say hello. Hello! Upon the count of four, I will be coming through your door, and thought that I should probably let you know. Oh, the Wally the Whale was coming round for tea. For tea! And Wally the Whale's as big can be. Can be! Don't be hoisting up the sails, because you're all afraid of whales, and heading back to land and higher ground. Back to land where treasure can be found. Oh, have I told you of the tale about the 30-meter whale who decided he would dine upon me boat? He said that on the count of four he would be coming through me door, and was sorry if the blister didn't float. He said it's lonely out at sea, 'cause everybody's scared of me, and no one ever stops to say hello. Hello! Upon the count of four I will be coming through your door, and thought that I should probably let you know. Oh, the Wally the Whale was coming round for tea. For tea! And Wally the Whale's as big can be. Can be! Don't be hoisting up the sails, because you're all afraid of whales, and heading back to land and higher ground. Back to land where treasure can be found. Back to land where treasure can be found.
All right, that was a really fun song. Did you like that one, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Make sure to check the podcast details for links to where you can find Captain Festus McBoyle online. Speaking of pirates from New Zealand, it's time for our place of the day, which just happens to be New Zealand.
See what we did there?
Yes, I do. New Zealand is a country located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean. It's about 2,581 miles east of Australia, which is about 4,155 kilometers. New Zealand is home to around 4.7 million people. Here are just a few interesting facts about New Zealand.
New Zealand is made up of many islands.
The two main islands are called the North Island and the South Island, but there are also around 600 other smaller islands. We'll let you go look up the names of all those ones on your own.
There are no snakes in New Zealand.
Indiana Jones would love it there. There are also no poisonous spiders or killer jellyfish. If you want snakes, poisonous spiders, and killer jellyfish, visit Australia instead.
The Lord of the Rings movies were filmed in New Zealand.
If you're a huge Lord of the Rings fan, you can go on tours that take you to all of the different locations where they filmed scenes from the movies. It's the ultimate nerd vacation, and it actually sounds pretty cool to me.
New Zealand was the first country to allow women to vote.
Way to go, New Zealand.
The capital of New Zealand is Wellington.
Wellington is home to about 418,000 people. It is the southernmost capital city in the world. It is not the largest city in New Zealand, though. A city called Auckland is much larger. Auckland's population is just over 1.6 million.
The official languages of New Zealand are English, New Zealand Sign Language, and Maori.
Maori is a language spoken by the Maori people. The Maori are the indigenous or native people of New Zealand. That basically means that they were the first people to settle the land that is now known as New Zealand. There are over 700,000 people in New Zealand that identify as Maori.
New Zealand has a lake that is about the size of Singapore.
It's called Lake Taupo, and it's on the North Island. It's apparently a great fishing spot.
There are no nuclear power plants in New Zealand.
So if you're a huge fan of nuclear power, New Zealand might not be the place for you.
Everywhere in New Zealand is close to the ocean.
You can't get more than 79 miles away from the ocean in New Zealand. That's about 128 kilometers. That's very similar to England, which we talked about on a past episode of the show. Okay, since we're talking about New Zealand today, we decided we would also like to choose an animal from New Zealand for our segment called
Animals are cool. Here are some facts about one of them.
Animals are cool. Here are some facts about one of them.
The animal we chose for today is a bird called a kiwi. Many of you are probably familiar with kiwi fruit, which is obviously not a bird. Here are a few facts about the bird, not the fruit.
Kiwis are a flightless bird.
This, of course, means that they cannot fly. They have very tiny wings that are useless.
Kiwis have a really long beak.
They are the only bird in the world that has nostrils at the end of their beaks. They have a great sense of smell, which helps them to find food.
The logo for the Royal New Zealand Air Force has a kiwi on it.
Let me remind you that the kiwi is a flightless bird, so maybe that wasn't the greatest choice.
Kiwis are nocturnal.
They spend the day hiding out in burrows in the ground or in old logs, and then at night they go hunting for some of their favorite foods like worms, bugs, and seeds. Yum.
Kiwis are monogamous.
Monogamous means that they only have one mate. When two kiwis get together, they stay together forever.
Kiwi chicks are born fully feathered.
Unlike many other birds, kiwis are not born naked.
Kiwis have strong, muscular legs.
Their legs make up 1/3 of their body weight, and they use them for running and fighting. All right, let's do one more fact.
Kiwis have poor eyesight.
They make up for this with their amazing sense of hearing and smell. All right, one more thing. You may have heard that kiwi is often used as a nickname for people that are from New Zealand. Most New Zealanders are not offended by this. If you were to use this nickname in a sentence, it would sound like this. Wow, that kiwi got really mad when I told him his accent sounded Australian. So there you go. You now know a little bit more about New Zealand and about one of their birds. All right, on our last episode, we mentioned that we were going to see a new movie called The Kid Who Would Be King. Well, we weren't lying. We did go see it. Lincoln, what'd you think of that film?
It was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. Actually, at the end of the movie, Lincoln, you told me that it was one of your favorite movies of all time now. Is that true? Yeah, that's a pretty positive review. That's great. As I mentioned before, The Kid Who Would Be King is about a young boy who finds King Arthur's legendary sword. Lincoln, what's the name of King Arthur's sword?
Excalibur.
Right, Excalibur. So he finds Excalibur and he has to stop a villain from destroying the world. And he has to put together a team of other kids to help him on this quest. And his team includes 2 kids that are not very nice to him in the beginning of the film. They're like the school bullies. Now, the acting in this movie is really good. The kids in this film did a fantastic job. And if you like fantasy adventure films, you're probably gonna like The Kid Who Would Be King. There's a lot of action and there's a lot of humor. I laughed a bunch of times. It was funny, wasn't it, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will warn you, though, the villain in this movie is actually pretty scary. So, parents, if you have younger children that are scared easily, you may want to wait a bit on this film. Speaking of movies, the Lego Movie 2 is out now, and Lego released a brand new set of 20 Lego Movie 2 minifigure blind bags. You may remember that we were collecting the Harry Potter minifigures. We stopped because we kept getting figures that we already had. We had like 4 Dumbledores, and as much as we love Dumbledore, that's a little excessive.
That's right.
But yeah, the Lego Movie 2 blind bags look pretty awesome. We haven't seen the film yet, so we're not familiar with the new characters, but I did look at the list of the new minifigures, and I'm excited to report that there are a few Wizard of Oz minifigures included in the new blind bags. We're probably going to pick up a few of the blind bags before our next episode. We'll let you know how that goes. And we'll also let you know what we think of the new Lego movie, because we plan to see it very soon. Alright, it's almost time to go, so I just want to thank you again for hanging out with us. Please send us a message if you have anything you'd like to respond to in the show, or if you have any funny jokes. You can also send us suggestions on what you'd like to hear us talk about on future shows. We'd love to hear from you. As usual, we're going to end the show with an awesome song. I recently heard this really weird and really fun song by Mike Phirman called Dance Little Meatball Dance, and I knew right away that I wanted to share it with all of you. So we're going to end this episode with a 4-minute dance party. So wherever you are right now, take some time to just bust some moves and have some fun. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.
Your beef, your pork, and your breadcrumbs, your garlic, your salt, and your onion. You're a little cheesy 'cause there is cheese in you. You're a little eggy 'cause there's an egg or two. I put it all in a bowl and mix you through
meatball. Dance round, little meatball. Dance like you own this town, little meatball. Shake your ground, round, around, little meatball. Okay, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready now. Dance, little meatball, dance. Dance, little meatball, dance, little meatball, dance. Dance, little meatball, dance, little meatball, dance. Dance, little meatball, dance, little meatball, dance. You're hip, you're hot, and you're ready. You've reached the top of spaghetti. You smell a bit like a meaty bowl of stew. You've got a million bumps all over you. You're so much more than a greasy little sphere. You're a greasy little superstar. You are glistening, but are you listening? 'Cause meatball, here's the thing. It's time to dance, little meatball.